Welcome to the dark side of BEASTwriter, where social media engagement is encouraged. I'm your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and we are going to keep up with these live streams. As you guys know, every Monday and Tuesday, we are doing a Pick 6 at 6 p.m. live stream. Basically, I'm keeping that schedule for a number of different reasons. One, because I'm there at Raiders headquarters as my 9 to 5. So when I get home, even though I just live down the street, I need time to prepare, with the production meetings because I'm a one-man show, right? I don't have... Again, I'm my own sound check guy, lighting guy, live stream guy, content creating guy, thumbnail image guy on all of the social media platforms that I'm on guy. So it's a lot of different layers that I have to, or different hats I have to wear for each live stream. So that's why I do it. Wednesday, we're doing a blitz pickup, time to be determined because we don't know when that guest has time to hop on the show. So it has to be on their time, not my time. And so we're keeping that up to date. If we can't get anyone on Wednesday, it will be Han Solo and just be us here in the DOB. Thursday, we are doing Don't Miss a Beat from the Beat, right? And so I like that lingo because one, I'm a beat writer. There's only a handful of us. And I think it would be cool to have a different perspective other than my own, right? Like, so if I had someone like that was on the beat, like my boy Case Kiefer, who I sit next to, Ed Graney, Paul Gutierrez from ESPN, Vic Tafer, Tashawn Reed from The Athletic, or if I can get Vinny Bonsignori or someone else, right? Like Mark Anderson, right, from Las Vegas Review-Journal. If we can get some of these guys in, that'd be cool. Or that who is now with the AP. So I think it'd be cool to get some of these guys in. Kevin Bollinger, right? We can get him from Fox 5. Local, Las Vegas. So I want to get a lot of these guys. We can talk to Cassie Soto. We can talk to Adam Hill, right? We can talk to, obviously Heidi Fang. So Q. We can talk to a lot of different people, man. It's going to be fun. So that will be every Thursday. And we're going to shoot that on. So Levi Edwards, who's a Raiders reporter, obviously, he's a good one too. So I'm excited for that. We're going to set a set schedule. And then Friday, which will be tomorrow, would be the 4th and goal leading up to the big game. Obviously, it's the offseason, so 4th and goal can be a Q&A, and we get just talk about things that happen throughout the week. So a lot of cool things going on here. And so tonight, we hope to have Pharaoh NFL on along with Ray. So we've been kind of working on a collab. I want them to hop on the YouTube channel. I really respect the work that they do. So hopefully they can hop on. I just sent a message to Ray, and hopefully he'll be on. But yeah. All right. Auntie Sixo says, "What up, nightmare?" I thought you said "what a nightmare," but it's "what up, nightmare." I get it. All right. So I want to touch base on what the Raiders are going to do. They're going to have their local pro day. I'm not going to release the scheduling time and date of when that's going to take place, but I will say that they are going to have a local pro day. Now, that the local pro day is similar to how the 49ers ran their local pro day. Basically, local prospects who are from the area within a certain mile radius can attend the local pro day. It's like a local private workout, so you can kind of see these guys face to face. And it doesn't count against the pre-draft visits. I'm not going to say top 30 visits because I think that's BS. Top 30 visits is stupid. Stupid's a strong word, but it's dumb. It's not a top 30 visit. It's called a pre-draft visit because you only get 30 of them. If you call it a top 30, then you're thinking that guy's a top 30 on your vertical board, and he's not. It's a pre-draft visit. You get 30 of them. So it doesn't count against that. So when I was covering the San Francisco 49ers at the 49ers local pro day, guess who was there back in 2014, I believe? Yeah, it was 2014 because that's GM Trent Baalke. It was raining that day. I was there watching Davante Adams, right? Because Davante Adams is from East Palo Alto, which is just down the street from Santa Clara over at Levi Stadium. And so he's Bay Area born and raised, right? So I got to first glimpse of Davante Adams before anyone. He didn't practice at the local pro day. He was just talking to GM Trent Baalke, kind of picking his brain. And unfortunately, the Niners didn't draft Davante Adams. They should have, but they didn't. But here we are. All right. So the local pro day is going to take place with the Raiders at some time in the near future. All right. So Dark says, "What's the latest rumor?" Well, the rumor is one of those touchy subjects, right? Because rumor can be clickbait. Rumor can be something that people make up. Rumors can also be something said as a smokescreen to get the word out about something to deter the real information that is concrete, that they're targeting a certain player. So there's a lot of smoke that we have to sift through, right? So I want to downplay the rumors. The rumor right now is that There's a lot of content creators pushing for Patrick Queen. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Now watch it happen. For a number of different reasons. One, Robert Spillane, all right, who was just on the Raiders YouTube channel today, spoke about why he chose the Raiders. Obviously, I know Robert from covering my time for Sports Illustrated from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I graded the snap, not the box score, and grading his game. And so same thing with Bilal Nichols when he came here last year from the Chicago Bears, and you all know the story there. All right. So again, if you followed me from day one or haven't followed me since day one, and this is your first time, welcome to the DOB. You're going to leave no stone unturned at the end of the show, and you're going to be a smarter man for it or a smarter woman for it. I'm joking because I'm being biased, but I truly believe in leaving no stone unturned. As cliche as it sounds, we don't do it here. We don't leave anything on the table. All right. So the rumor that Patrick Queen should be a Las Vegas Raider because he's young. Look, GM Eric DeCosta, again, I can't pound the table enough. If you're going to talk about a player, you better know and do your due diligence. Not just saying, oh, this guy's a former first-round pick. Remember Jeff Okudah? I said that's not going to happen. Anybody who says Jeff Okudah was going to happen, you're shooting yourself. And you're kidding yourself. And you're basically saying now, oh, well, Detroit Lions don't have Jeff Okudah anymore, so they're going to go after a cornerback. No, man, they let Jeff Okudah go because they have who there? Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley, both Tennessee products, right? Cam Sutton graded him over with the Pittsburgh Steelers just like it did with Robert Spillane. You want the grades on that? I can shoot him for you. Boundary starting cornerback, played with Keller Witherspoon, Arthur Millette, played with guys like Mike Hilton, right? Come on, someone talk to me. Same thing with Emmanuel Mosley. Got his turn to shine when Jason Verrett got injured, and in comes Emmanuel Mosley. Boom. Played really, really well. Some could say he was better than Richard Sherman in recent memory. Which is why Jimmy Ward wasn't the boundary cornerback, right? He was playing free safety, then came in the slot, and we all know the story there if you follow the Niners and run the grades on the 49ers defense. But not a lot of people want to take the time to do that because they don't have time to do it. So they just piggyback on my analysis and they write that down. Too late. You guys already put it out there, so now I'm just catapulting on what you guys said. You know, keep the receipts. Keep the receipts, everyone. Let's keep score. I like keeping score. I like holding myself accountable, just FYI. I like calling myself out when I get it wrong, and I like praising myself when I get it right. Why? Because in order for you to hop on this live stream, there's 21 of you guys watching right here. I need to get it right in real time. Otherwise, I'm wasting your time now that we're 12 minutes and 47 seconds in. I don't want to waste your time. My time is limited. Look, I didn't go to the gym for 2 days, right? I had to go to the gym today. I was going to hop on the earlier live stream, but I was like, you know what? I got to get my gym gains in. Had to hit 1,000 calories on the Stairmaster in under 60 minutes. Had to go hit chest. Did it. And now I'm here doing this live stream. Didn't even have dinner yet. In fact, all I had today was one donut. Now that I think about it, one donut. That's all I had all day. Oh, and a protein shake. That's it. That's it. That's all I had so far. So after this live stream, I'm going to be eating like a king before I head to bed. Actually, that's not a good idea to do because then you're not going to be able to sleep. But who sleeps these days? Not Beast. Jeremy Willis says, have you watched film on linebacker Pace and Overshown love both those guys later? No, I have not. I have not. Maybe I should now, Jeremy. Maybe I should. Daniel Kim says, it'll be good to get other views and get a well-rounded view and heat check for all the people in the nation. Yeah, man. I look, I like it. Like I said, like I like getting it right and then but I also like calling myself. I like it. It holds me accountable. I like calling myself out. And people can call it whatever they want to call it. But look, hey, I don't have the backing of a huge network to toot my own horn. So that's why I have to toot my own horn because I don't have someone to toot it for me. I'm a one-man show. What do you expect? If you're going to, like I said, if you're going to follow me and you're new to follow me right now, listen to what I say in real time. And I'm not a triple F. Everybody who knows in the DOB what a FFF is, a triple F, not Triple H, not Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I'm talking about flip, flop, or fake. Switching the real-time analysis to hindsight and then passing it off as if, oh, yeah, I knew he was a good player. Oh, they should have drafted Devin White number 4. Who said that? I said that in real time. Oh, go figure. What did I say about Cleve Farrell? Oh, he's going to be the biggest best in round 1. Oh, go figure. Check the Beast receipts on Twitter. Holla at your boy. But everyone wants to piggyback on my success saying it years later. When it comes to the draft, I am spot on. Just calling it Beat ESPN, Beat NFL Network, last 2 years. If you want to follow real mock draft, follow them. I'm joking. Those guys are great. That's why they're the standard. But I beat them last 2 years, finished no worse than third over the last 8. Jason Sears says, BEASTwriter, what's good? Blessings, my brother. Blessings to you, too. A lot of people in here. There's 24 of you guys in here. Just give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to donate to the channel, you guys can do that through a super chat or a super sticker, and it really helps out the channel a lot. If not, give this video a thumbs up and engage with me. That is free. You guys can do that, right? That's free. That's free. It's free 99. Oh my goodness. Daniel Kim says, welcome to the beat. Remember to hit the like and support the DLB. Yeah, likes are free, man. A like is just as good as dropping a comment, but then also subscribe to the channel. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and turn on that bell. You only have 24 hours, so you better choose who to follow. And if I'm going to follow somebody, I want to follow somebody who gets it right in real time, not in hindsight. The guy who gets it right in hindsight is already behind. There's a lot of people out there. I'm not going to name drop. Just check the receipts, man. No one wants to put analysis on. Not just say no one. People that do that and get it wrong. There's people that I follow on other teams, right? And I'm like, this guy is totally wrong all the time in real time. And then in hindsight, you see on Twitter, I knew this guy was going to be good. I know Roquan Smith was going. What I say about Roquan Smith? Everyone's talking about, he's no Roquan Smith, as in Patrick Queen, but Niner fans know what's up. Straight from 49ers headquarters. Even tagged 49ers to take Roquan Smith trade up, because I knew that he was going to get past 9. Holly Wong says, everyone hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you so much, Holly Wong. Yeah, click that bell to be notified. Daniel Kim says, yep, they didn't pay Blaine to ride the bench. That's the thing. It's like everyone's talking about other players, other household names. I hate that. I hate talking about household names. Look, anybody can name drop people on Madden, dude. Come on. It doesn't mean crap. Household names. Cool story, bro. Household names. Anybody who is potentially going to get released, surprise cap cut, trade. Oh, we should get Odell Beckham Jr. I saw that on Instagram. Really? Where does he fit in the scheme? Where does he fit financially? Where does that put the Air Coryell offense? Because as we know, we talked about this. How does that play into the dynamic of the players that they have already on the roster? And how does that fit into the financial cap and the financial snap sheet of the 2 to 3 year outlook? Then he goes on and signs with the Baltimore Ravens for what, 18 million plus, which comes with incentives upwards of 18 million per year, or for that 1 year, whatever the case may be, that 1 year deal. Prove it deal, which is not really a prove it deal. I mean, it's OBJ, but you had Devontae Adams, you have Hunter Renfrow. They're going to be drafting a wide receiver. Guaranteed they're going to be drafting a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. You heard it here first in the DOB. They're going to be drafting a wide receiver or a receiving threat. Could be a wide receiver, tight end, hybrid. I don't care what you want to call it. In the first 3 rounds. Write that down. And then for anybody who wants to copy my analysis, write that down. Phil Romero says, Beast, do you see the Raiders trading back? If you do, how far back? Yep, I see them trading back from 7 to 12 to 18 range, depending on how the draft board falls. Talked about this on January 11th and January 19th. Spoke about the teams that they would likely trade with based on the analytics in my grading system and how that would play out. You look at GM Howie Roseman. You look at guys like, obviously, Nick Caserio. You look at guys with the Houston Texans. If you guys don't know, I'm speaking GM. Sorry, I apologize. Let's kind of peel back layers here so you guys know exactly what teams I'm talking about. You're looking at guys that are in that 12 to 18 range. You look at Rand Carthon from GM for the Tennessee Titans, new GM taking over John Robinson over at 11. He can use quarterback right now. So if there's an Anthony Richardson and he has a strong conviction about Anthony Richardson, Tennessee, holla at your boy, and or not Anthony Richardson, Florida, but let's just say that he wants to move up and get a guy like that. He can do that. I mean, they hold the 11th pick. They hold the 42nd pick in the second round. They also hold the 72nd pick in the third round. So, yeah, they have ammo, right? New York Jets. Who's the GM for the New York Jets? It's not McCagnon anymore. Who is it? Mr. Douglas. And if Joe Douglas wants to go ahead and get a quarterback, because Zach Wilson, obviously what's going to happen with him, I don't know, man. We don't know what's going to happen. They could possibly trade because they like stockpiling picks. Where does he come from? The Baltimore Ravens tree as well. They have the 13th pick, 43rd overall pick, and 74th overall pick. So why not? It's all about board manipulation. Talked about this back on January 11th and January 19th here on this live stream here in the DOB. Now people are starting calling it up and passing it off as their own. Oh, they're going to trade down. Because BEASTwriter said no. Because I said, cool story, bro. Let me write that down. Dark said I had to take 2 days off because my entire body was sore. It was leg day today, and it felt great to be back. Oh, man, I was going to hit leg day today, but I knew if I hit legs today, I wouldn't be able to sit in this chair, and I'd be weak in the knees, and I wouldn't be able to hop on a live stream because I'd be too tired from the leg day. So I feel your pain, bro. In fact, going to the bathroom, trying to, sit down on that toilet, it's a chore. Let me tell you, it's a chore. Dark says, so what's the deal on JJ? Well, he didn't sign it, right? And he has till April 17th to sign it, to sign that non-exclusive franchise tag, or risk not being able to participate in off-season activities. Would it be OTAs, minicamp, training camp? If there is a holdout, would I be surprised? No, I wouldn't be surprised because I don't think Josh Jacobs wants to be tagged. But then again, the long-time thinking with GM Dave Ziegler is the fact that they want to extend them long-term. They didn't sign them as a short-term solution. They want to extend them long-term. We talked about the evaluation versus evaluation when it comes to Josh Jacobs and why I knew that this problem would arise. We talked about this. Now people can hop back. Oh yeah, 50 million APY. Who said that? Oh, BEASTwriter. Ooh, fire. Is he worth 50 million APY? How many All-Pros are there in the NFL? There's only one first-team All-Pro, and his name's Josh Jacobs. They don't grow on trees. There's only one of one. Just like me, there's only one of one. There's only one beast, right? Same thing applies. Oh, man. A visionary says, are you buying that stuff about Caserio leaving, saying Texans might skip out on drafting quarterback, which would make second pick Stroud available? What are your thoughts? I think it's a real possibility. And I think that's why the draft starts at number 3 with Arizona Cardinals GM Monty Austinfort coming from the New England Patriots, because he doesn't need a quarterback. He has Kyler Murray there. So if you're looking at stockpiling more picks because of the needs that they have, you're going to see the draft board, how the draft's going to start at number 3. And I guarantee what I say before Ian Rapsheet put it out there that the Bears were looking to trade the number 1 overall pick. What I say? I said it a week prior to that, literally a week prior to that. I said what? I said, Ryan Poles is going to trade the number 1 overall pick. And it happened. I'm saying it again. Let's double down on those gains. I can say, write this down, check the Beast receipt. I don't care if you don't like the Beast receipts or not. Swipe left if you don't like what I have to say. That's okay. If you don't want to see, if you don't know, if you guys don't want to know the future, or if this is not your flavor, go ahead, swipe left. It's cool. It's cool. But I have to toot my own horn because I don't have anyone else to do it. Look, I'm not backed up by a huge network. I'm backed up by being a startup company, and this is how you do it. You prove your worth by getting it right in real time. If you don't like the smoke, get out the kitchen, right? So here's the thing with this, right? This is my line of thinking, all right? And you can take this however you want it. Monty Austinfort is going to trade out of number 3. He will. Write that down. Number 3, the draft starts at number 3. And at number 2, if Will Anderson goes, because D'Amico Ryans, who I covered with the San Francisco 49ers, wants to take that edge rusher, that Leo pass rusher that he had in Nick Bosa, and double down on that in that 4-3 front, wide 9 scheme. All right? Talked about it with Mick Lombardi. Coach Lombardi talked about the wide 9. He knows about it. We both know about it. We both came from San Francisco. We both talked about it. Asked him a question in the presser during the season when they played the Niners. I'm just saying, man, like, look. It's crazy to think all the clickbait that you see today, all the clickbait, man, it's concerning. Clickbait, views, clickbait. No, man. There's 33 of you guys watching right here. If you guys like what I have to say, if you like the Beast receipts, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm and pushes it out to YouTube and other like-minded nation like yourselves, because we're continuing to grow and we run DOB giveaways for everyone who subscribes. So if you don't subscribe, you're not going to be entered here on YouTube for our BEASTwriter giveaways. Look at this. A lot of you guys are watching on Facebook. Just hit the subscribe button or give it a thumbs up on Facebook. That will push it. And if you have a YouTube, who does not have a YouTube? If you have YouTube TV, you have YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you can have YouTube because it's tied to your Gmail, right? YouTube and Google, the same thing, same parent company. So all I'm saying is subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on the bell notifications, and do yourselves a solid. You only have 24 hours to follow somebody. Might as well follow somebody who gets it right in real time more times than not. Just saying. People can call it cocky. People can call it conceited. I don't care what you call it. I call it being right. Just like I don't care if it's the Raider way. I don't care if it's Patriot way. It's the winning way. Just win, baby. Isn't it the Al Davis model? Commitment to excellence. Lencho, thank you so much for the super chat, my guy. Appreciate it. And super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. And really, really means a lot, my guy. Appreciate it. Jeremy says, trade down, get BPA. Can't wait for Ziegler Magic this draft. Now watch them trade up. They could also trade up, too. Because I think get this, because Monty Austinfort worked with GM Dave Ziegler from their time in New England. So don't get it twisted. If there's Bryce Young sitting there, and let's say the Carolina Panthers don't take Bryce Young, but as of now, I have Bryce Young going number 1. But let's say CJ Stroud is sitting there at number 3, and obviously, the Arizona Cardinals are looking for the best offer. They're not going to trade from 3 to 4. Why? Because that's only one movement of draft position. You're going to want to trade from someone in that 7th round, that'd be crazy, 7th round, in that 7th slot, which would be who? The Las Vegas Raiders. Do you actually think the Seattle Seahawks would move from 5 to 3 based on the analytics? No, John Schneider is not going to do that. Why? Because he has Geno Smith there. Anybody who says that they're going to go after a quarterback at number 5, unfollow them. Now watch them draft a quarterback. No, I don't see it. I don't see John Schneider doing it. Why? The analytics tell you something. The numbers tell you something. The draft position tell you something. Look, if you're going to talk about one player on a specific team and how it relates to your team that you like or that you're rooting for or covering, whatever the case may be, you better know your stuff on the other 31. Otherwise, you're just sniffing and hoping. You're reaching. Don't reach, man. Just like in basketball, don't reach. Move your feet. Don't reach. Lenzo says, get a legacy brick, Beast. I would. Those things are expensive. Maybe if I get enough super chats, I'll get one of those. What's up, G says, question for everyone. The Raiders don't retire numbers. What numbers should be retired and hung in the stadium? That is a great question. Onto 6 says, Beast, can you break down our starters on offense and defense right now? Sure. Offense, Jimmy Garoppolo. You think Jimmy Garoppolo would come to the Las Vegas Raiders if he didn't know already what the Raiders draft plans were doing at 7? I mean, he had his choice of teams, right? He could have went to a number of different teams, right? So, like, if you're thinking about it logically, like, where do you see Jimmy Garoppolo looking at this, right? He's probably looking at this knowing already what the draft plans are at number 7. His job is safe. Everyone said, oh, no one's untouchable. I said that since day one, this time last year. What also did I say about Jimmy Garoppolo if he was to come to Las Vegas Raiders? And I said he was a good fit. And you guys know how I feel about that because Heavy used my analysis and my tweets and made a cool graphic out of it. And everyone was laughing because they're like, oh, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to come. You're being biased because you're coming. Here we are. Check the Beast receipts. Jimmy Garoppolo would not come here if they drafted. Because you know why? Because the same dynamic would have played out the Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, come on. Let's cover all 31. Not including the Raiders. Let's do it. Anybody who knows that dynamic back in the Bay Area like I do, because I cover the team, you would know it was not a very, very good situation for either one of the quarterbacks. Not because it's Jimmy Garoppolo's fault, but the team wanted, the star players wanted Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback. But then you gave up 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. Swooped the deal with the Miami Dolphins. And what I say about that? I was the first one and only one to put out that the Miami Dolphins were going to trade number 3. Everyone thought it was smoke. Go check the Beast receipts here on YouTube. Miami Dolphins, trade number 3, BEASTwriter. See the timestamp of when I said that and when that was going to happen, and then look who they traded with. I love draft. I love covering all 32 NFL teams. I love game grades. But getting down to it, right? Let's go ahead and talk about this. Can you break down our starters on defense? So Jimmy Garoppolo's job is safe. Now, I'm not going to say that they're not going to go after Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, because that'd be dumb if he's sitting there at 3. And if you thought the value was there to go up and get a quarterback of the future, right? You would be dumb not to make that move. If Bryce Young or CJ Stroud is available at 3, you go out and take him. That's just my thinking. But I'll be honest with you. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I am not a good quarterback talent evaluator. I thought Zach Wilson was going to be really, really good. Got that one wrong. I like calling myself out. Got it wrong. Hold myself accountable. Look, Beast, you were wrong. I'm sorry. Can't get them all right. Only 75 to 80%. More than that. 85% right. On to Six Soldiers said, write that down. Beast, I don't believe anything gets smoke season. Yeah, it is smoke season. Look, I can hype up any player I want. Like, let's say I had a source inside, which I have sources, right? All beat writers have sources. If you don't have a source or a number of different sources by now and you're a beat writer, I mean, you're not doing your job. But anybody can tell you anything. My source could be like, oh yeah, we love Anthony Richardson. Oh yeah, we love this guy. Oh, anytime. Oh, what do you think about? Oh, we love this guy. Oh, we love this guy. Oh, we love this guy. Why? They don't want to leak out information. The heck? Come on. Oh, I've been told that this guy's really good. No crap. If I was GM Dave Ziegler and I had a scouting department, I would throw out all the smoke screens I want. Hey, anybody that you know who's in the media, local, national, doesn't matter. They're all good players. Okay? Plain and simple. Do you think we could draft them? Sure. Let's leave no stone unturned. Everyone's a player. Oh, yeah, I like... Bro. Smoke. You got to watch the film to decipher, because no one's going to give you the answer on that. Just like no one's going to... I'm beside myself, man, because people actually take it at face value. Like, oh, man, like, oh, yeah, they're not going to go after Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay. Then I hear him making fun of me, and then when it happened, it's crickets. Crickets. Who got the last laugh now? Daniel Casey, real talk with real insight, backed by real work. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. And like I said, man, it's more of a, again, I have to prove to you guys that I know what I'm talking about, right? The Niner fans already know. People who cover me in the BWF already know that I covered all 32 and have a strong conviction when it comes to the NFL draft and so forth. You already know. But the nation does not know. And that's my job, to prove to the nation that I know, what you don't know what I know, and what I do know and what I don't know. I'll tell you if I don't know, but I usually do know. Say that 10,000 times fast. JCCD, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, love the channel. Appreciate the Raiders coverage. Who are your top 3 tight ends? Thank you. That is a great question. I'll be 100% honest with you. I haven't done the research that I needed to, but I love Michael Mayer. This guy just stands out to me. Like, I love this guy. He's a tight end that really stands out. It's funny, right? When you look at the landscape of the tight ends, and there's another guy who I want to point out too. Gosh, I got to make sure that his name's, I was running grades on him late last night. Thank you for bringing this up, because I was going to talk about it, because here's another thing. Write this down. What I say that they're going to do, they're going to draft a wide receiver tight end in the first 3 rounds. Don't be surprised if they draft 2 within the top 4 rounds. Here's another thing that I want you guys to write this down. All right. You heard it here first. Anybody who tries to piggyback on this, you heard it here first, because no one's talking about it. No one. On April 13th, 2023. April 13th, 2023. Write this down. The Raiders are going to move up in the tail end of the first round and end up with 2 rookie first round picks. There's a bold prediction for you. No one's talking about that. That's correct. They are going to move up and get 2 first round picks. One moving back from 7 to whatever, or stay pat, whatever the case may be. But because of the draft capital ammo that they have, if they're going to have a strong conviction about somebody that's going to creep up in the tail end of the first round that won't otherwise be available when they pick on the second round, they're going to move up in the 28 to 32 slot and pick in the tail end of the first round, ending up with 2 first-round picks when it's all said and done after day 1. You heard it here first in the DOB. That's the insider analysis that I have in providing that type of insight. Oh, but nobody tell you that? Nope. I read between the lines. Read between the lines. What do you think about that? 2 first-round picks. I like it. Jeremy Willis says, exactly. If younger Stroud are viable, then trade up. Honestly, I hope we load up on defense and PBA. Yeah, I do too. Dark says, in your honest expert opinion, I don't like calling myself an expert, but in my honest professional opinion, everyone calls themselves an expert. It's like, if you're an expert, you better get it right, which I on everything, every little thing, right? Because you're an expert. You get paid to do a job. You better get it right. All these experts get it wrong. But thank you for acknowledging that I am good at my job. That's a positive. In your honest expert opinion, do you see Carter making it all the way to 7? I do. Now, Seattle Seahawks under John Schneider, they do run a 34 base defense, which means a 2-gap scheme, and they did sign a lot of 2-gap players. Jaron Reed, Draymond Jones, right? All right, come from 3-4 background, roll tide roll. Here's the thing. If Jalen Carter's sitting there at 5, don't be surprised if they take him. Also, don't be surprised if they opt not to take Jalen Carter and opt for Tyree Wilson. Why? Because my analytics tell me why. That's why. John Schneider doesn't do well in the first round, just to let you know. Doesn't do really well in the first round. He's average when you look at the landscape of the other 32 NFL GMs or 31 other NFL GMs, but he's average. He hits on the later rounds, though, right? I got the Beast receipts to check those out. But the Bruce Irvin pick out of West Virginia, that was a surprise to many. I think he went number 15 overall. You guys can double fact that, but I'm doing this off the top of my head. But I do need to get a rundown. There's a guy here. Get back to your question. Gosh, let me pull this kid up. This guy was legit. I followed this guy for the last 3 years, 2 to 3 years, and I was talking about him. Actually, see, here we go. So I was talking about it. Back on January 1st, 2022, which is about, a year and a half ago, I was talking about this kid. He's only a sophomore, right? But Tucker Kraft is a guy that I really like out of South Dakota State. He brings me like Dallas Goedert vibes, dude. Like, I like this guy. So he could be a guy that no one's really talking about, Tucker Kraft. And honestly, let's look up Tucker Kraft. Kraft singles, dude. Right? 6'5", 254 pounds, 32 3/4 arm length, right? Ran a 4.69 40-yard dash, 1.59 10-yard split, 34-inch vertical, 122-inch broad jump, 7.083 cone drill. That's the same exact time as Khalil Mack, what he had in that 3-cone drill. How do I know this off the top of my head? Because I ran the grades. 4.29 20-yard short shuttle and 23 reps of 225 on the bench press. The comparison that I see is a Dallas Goedert type of deal. Others see kind of like a Pat Freiermuth, who I kind of see that, but I think I don't know. I kind of like Pat Freiermuth a little bit more coming out of Iowa. But hey, to each their own, right? Says, Beast, how much cap space do we need to sign the rookies? Well, it depends how much they end up, right? I don't think they're going to use all 12 picks. Anybody who thinks they're going to use all 12 picks, unfollow them. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not going to use all 12 picks. What GM Dave Ziegler is going to do is going to manipulate the draft board how he sees fit, move up and down, use the extra draft capital to leverage the 2024 draft for the following season. You, right? Talked about this. Let me write this down. And that's that's what good GMs do, man. They stockpile more picks in concurrent years. And if there's a guy, if there's a team that you can fleece, Kwesi Adolfo Mensa from the Minnesota Vikings, joking, I like him. But hey, the Raiders fleeced them twice, in my opinion. Good job, GM Dave Ziegler. Oh man. Jeremy says, I agree with your statement about Skoronski, future Pro Bowler. Why pass him up? I like Peter Skoronski. No one's talking about Peter Skoronski. It's been hush-hush here at Raiders headquarters, right? No one's talking about him. I was talking about Devin Witherspoon. Everyone's talking about other players. Why not Peter Skoronski? Dang it, BEASTwriter. You're letting the cat out of the bag. I just run the grades. I just see who's a scheme fit. Who fits the Raider way? Everyone talks about the Raider way. Do you really know what the Raider way is? Hey, nobody can give you the answer on exactly what the Raider way is. You have to know the why behind the why, and then why. Oh my goodness. All right. We got Niner fans in here. Look at 49ers ways. What's the real reason the Raiders got rid of Darren Waller? He was a beast. Yeah, he was. He was a beast. I don't know why the Raiders got rid of Darren Waller. They saw value. They saw day 3, a 3rd round pick. Hey, let's get this guy. Let's get this guy. All right, we got Pharaoh NFL all up in here. We're going to bring him in here because I think you're ready. Pharaoh, you ready? You're backstage, bro, so they can't see you right now. All right, cool. He gave me a thumbs up. All right, we're going to bring him in and follow him on social media. We got Pharaoh. Are you there?
Yes, I am here. I appreciate you having me on, man. The BEASTwriter, man. Finally on here, man.
Yeah, I may be the BEASTwriter, but your background's more of a beast than my background.
I know, man. I appreciate that. Everybody's been complimenting on the background, man. I appreciate it.
I gotta step up my game, bro. You gotta help me.
I gotta step up my game, man, because you got the beast receipts, man. Man, as we say out here, man, you're in the trenches, man. You're talking to players, coaches. You do a lot of work for Raider Nation. I think the nation is noticing, and man, this channel is gonna explode. I could see it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And you're gonna explode too. I'm gonna give you some love. I like the work that you've been doing. I've been following you. I don't just have anybody on here, honestly. I pick and choose my spots, who I want on, simply because I don't want anyone on here if I don't think they're worth it.
Right.
So when I have you on, it kind of means something, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you having on. I know your co-host Ray. I think you can shoot him the same link that I gave you, so he can hop on. It's a private link.
I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it today, just because he got a lot going on outside of YouTube. But definitely Saturday we're gonna have a good show.
Yeah, but, I'm down, bro. I'm down. I'm excited, man. I think this can be. And the thing is I want to work with somebody. So being a beat writer is cool, right? Like, it's cool because you're put up on this pedestal, so to speak, and a lot of people don't have access that I have access to. But I want to give somebody like how I built up my following is kind of how you built up yours, or how you're building up yours is, you grind it out. You put out good, honest work. You have integrity, trust, loyalty, whatever, all that.
Right.
And then you kind of need help. Like, someone has to give you that exposure for you to see that, right? And so, like, I'm always on the wavelength of iron sharpens iron mentality, right? I always talk about that in my bodybuilding gains and so forth. So I'm not afraid to have people on the show if I feel they're worthy of being on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's talk football. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who were like, oh, no, I'm not going to associate with you because they're not gonna say it, but because you're better than me. Like, let's just keep it 100, right? Like, you know who I'm talking about. Like, they don't want to mess with you, bro. So,
hey, man, I'm on the BEASTwriters channel right now. I got a lot of respect for you. You know your stuff, man. I'm here taking notes as well. So as well as everybody in the chat, man. Salute to everybody in the chat in the nation, man. Like I said, man, everybody should be taking notes right now.
All right, so let's go ahead. I want to interview you a little bit. So what is your take? We're just gonna freelance this, if it's okay with you. So nothing too crazy. And here it's all about good vibes only, anyway. So you can have a disagreement as long as it's respectful. Because we have fans all over. Like, there's literally every fan in here.
Right.
I want to ask you a question on the Jimmy Garoppolo move. Some people say it's a lateral move. What is your take on someone saying that? Number one, do you agree with that? Number two, and how do you see this playing out? Number three.
I mean, I guess you can say it's a lateral move. I think that Derek Carr is a more talented QB, but I think Jimmy G is just a better fit in the system. So,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what we've seen with Jarrett Stidham when he first came in. We kind of seen the offense moving the ball. It was a little more exciting. It's just look right on offense when Jarrett Stidham was there, and it should be. I mean, he was in the offense for like what, at least 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes sense. With Derek Carr, it just didn't click. It didn't work, and he only had 1 year for it to make it happen, and it just it is what it is. And now the rest is history. He's now with the Saints, but I think with Jimmy G, I think he comes off. I'm just hearing from what Niner fans. He's and just paying attention because obviously I'm in the Bay Area, so I kind of have to pay attention to the Niners every now and then. But he seems like he's a good leader. He's a game manager, but there is a ceiling with Jimmy G, and I can't help but notice how talented the 49ers were
Mm-hmm.
and how they pretty much had everything. I mean, in my mind, they had the coaching, they had the skill position, they had the defense, running game, you name it, they had it. And when you look at Jimmy G, he didn't seem like he exploded like you would think he would. But hopefully with the Raiders, it's going to be a different story. He was drafted by the Patriots. Josh McDaniels was there in the building, so he's familiar with him. We'll see how it goes. I think, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it in a little bit, I think they should still target a QB in this upcoming draft.
Great analysis. Yeah, I covered Jimmy G for my time with the San Francisco 49ers on the beat. That's, my credentials right here. It's all 49ers, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man.
And then I'm going to build a Raiders one. Don't have as much credentials. I mean, this is like 12 years of work here. But
yeah.
For my time covering the San Francisco 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo, you hit it on the nail, right? There is a ceiling with Jimmy Garoppolo. He does make one ill-advised throw a game that will throw away the game. He doesn't live to play another down at times. He doesn't know how to do certain things on certain, he's a 1-2 read quarterback. He's a George Kittle down the seam, security blanket, or a short dump pass, screen pass, whatever the case may be, have Deebo Samuel run for quick gains. So you're right, spot on there. I don't think it's a lateral move as much as people make it out to seem. And this could be a biased take because I know Jimmy Garoppolo personally.
Okay.
But I just don't think, and I love, by the way, I love Derek Carr too. Like personally, like I love these. He's a great person, right? Love Derek Carr. I'm getting goosebumps because I love the guy. Love Jarrett Stidham. Me and him got along very well. But getting back to the lateral move talk, I don't think it's as much a lateral move as it was a scheme fit for the Raider Nation. And I think when people look at that, and then the first thing they say is, oh, well, they're just bringing on Patriot players. If you look at around the landscape of the other 31 other NFL teams, if you look at who the GMs are and the scouting departments and who they work with the business and coaches, a lot of times they bring in their own guys. So I know it's one of those things where, okay, we're just bringing Patriot guys over, but at the end of the day, the Patriots won, number one. Number two, it doesn't matter how they bring these guys over as long as they win. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what it looks like. As long as you have one more point than the other team, I'm happy. Why? Because it's going to make your pocket bigger. It's going to make my back pocket bigger because they're winning. When the Raiders are winning, we do well. When they do bad, no one gives a crap. Right. That's just the honest to God truth. And it sounds horrible, but it's true, right? And I'm not saying the nation aren't like that because of the most loyal fan base in the entire NFL. I know that for a fact. Said it when I was with the Niners, got a lot of heat for it. I didn't care. Right. But I will say this. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to turn heads, and I think he's going to be looked at as the scapegoat, whether they do well or whether they do bad, and he should because he's the quarterback. But at the end of the day, I think more times than not, you're going to look at this and say Jimmy Garoppolo had 26 touchdowns, maybe 13 interceptions, quarterback passer rating of 98.7, and he did very, very well, right? It's not going to be putting up 40 touchdowns or anything like that, but I think you're going to be happy with what you get with Jimmy Garoppolo. The first thing about this is when I was covering the Niners, one thing that I also want to kind of, now that I'm just kind of talking out loud here, is they really built up the offensive line up front for him. They got Trent Williams. They went ahead and drafted right tackle Mike McGlinchey back in 2018. They went ahead and went after Lincoln Tomlinson, who worked with Martin Mayhew back with the Detroit Lions, a former first-round pick. So you see the guys that they brought in, that's 3 out of the 5 starters, and then you can just kind of plug and play in that zone blocking scheme. I think that Peter Skoronski, and no one's talking about him, I think he logically could be the pick in the first round, whether they stay pat or trade down. I like Peter Skoronski, and it's not the sexy pick, But at the end of the day, can you be honest? Can you honestly say that you're okay with Alex Bars? As much as I love Alex Bars and Jermaine, I love those guys. Those are great people, right? Like them. But can you honestly say they can hold up against the AFC West edge rushers?
No, not at all. I mean, Alex Bars, he's solid run blocker, but we've seen what he can do as a pass blocker, and he struggled. And I don't think him coming back, I don't think that's a sign of him starting on that online. I think they just like him as a depth piece. He recognizes that offense. It just, I guess, makes sense for both parties. But in my opinion, I think that what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense. O-line seems like the thing about the Raiders, they can go a lot of different directions and it will make sense. I mean, they can go O-line, they can go defense, and technically they can go quarterback as well, and it still would make sense. But I get where you're coming from. No one's really talking about Peter Skoronski. A lot of people, like, when they're seeing O-line getting picked at 7 or the Raiders trade down and they pick an O-lineman, a lot of people are kind of like dismissing it and saying that, guys, they don't really know what the Raiders' issues are. But yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. It's just that, man, I just in my opinion, I want to see if being in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, and then we have Jimmy G, and then whoever Sean Payton is going to coach. I mean, Russell Wilson might have a career year, a bounce back year with a better offensive coach. Sean Payton knows how to coach that position, coach offense, right? So we know that that's going to be better moving forward. And then you have Jimmy G, and I, like I alluded to earlier, I said his ceiling is not really that high. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if Josh McDaniels and that whole building believes in a young QB in this draft and they have an opportunity to draft him, go get him. You know what I mean? I just believe in that. But if they're kind of, I think there's a lot of smoke right now. I'm hearing a lot of Anthony. I like Anthony Richardson, but obviously if they don't believe in Anthony Richardson, that they shouldn't draft him. He needs to go to a place where a team really believes in him and his development, and then it's a possibility. And I know you got strong thoughts, so I can't wait to hear him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Anthony Richardson. I just think there's a lot of smoke there, and I don't think the Raiders are going to draft Anthony Richardson. I don't think he's high enough on their board. I don't think that he's going to be a guy that they're really targeting if they're moving up. Even if he's available at 7, because I know, look, there's teams in that cluster there, the 6 to 9, 6 to 11. You have different views on Anthony Richardson because you're banking on a guy's potential rather than what you see on film. There's certain GMs that always go film number 1. And so when you look at that, GM Dave Ziegler is one of those guys, right? He always goes to the film, right? Always watches the film. Everybody watches the film. All good GMs and their scouts watch the film number 1. They don't care how a guy does in board shorts. They don't care how well a guy can throw from his knees. We also saw Jamarcus Russell do it. Cool story, bro. So I'm not so sure. Now watch them draft Anthony Richardson. I like him. I just don't think they're going to draft him. But getting back to your point on trading up for a CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, Roll Tide Roll fan, I would love to see them do it. I would love to see them strike a deal with the Arizona Cardinals, and that's a real possibility. I mean, trust me, it's a real possibility. It's a real possibility. All right, that if the Houston Texans, if they go ahead and get Will Anderson, as my mock currently stands, because D'Amico Ryans needs that Leo and that Nick Bosa kind of mold,
right?
And he's a generational talent, right? Nick Bosa went number 2, right? In 2019, Kyler Murray went number 1. So I can see lightning strike twice with D'Amico Ryans.
Right.
If that happens and CJ Stroud falls or Bryce Young, whoever the Carolinas pick at 1, I can see them trading up with Monty Ossenfort because he worked with GM Dave Ziegler. They have a dynamic there. It's like me working with you right now. We build a strong rapport. Hey, man, like, I know you don't need a quarterback, but I do.
Right. You make that phone call.
So I would love to see them do that. Here's the thing with that, though. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the scapegoat either way. Whether it's fair or unfair, he's the quarterback. So if you're making a lateral move, as most people are saying it is, to Jimmy Garoppolo, as a GM, don't you want to save every asset you can to protect Jimmy Garoppolo so that move does not get looked back on you as a bad move? If you're going to give Jimmy Garoppolo every opportunity to win, you're going to have to give him an offensive line. If you look at the landscape of the entire NFL, and I get that defense wins championships, I'm a firm believer in that. But a
Right.
Peter Skoronski, if you can stockpile more picks, get a Peter Skoronski who's a Pro Bowl guard. He has short arms, but he can play left tackle. He did it for 3 years. Now, can he do it very well? I'm probably going to say no. I think he's a serviceable left tackle, right tackle, whatever the case may be, where they plug him. Colt Miller's on the left side, so he'd be on the right side. But if you plug him in at guard, at right guard, you have a Pro Bowl guard there for the next 10 years. And if you can stockpile more picks and get defensive talent with those picks, but still getting a Pro Bowl talent on the interior that no one really wants to talk about, I think that's the play. Because now you're getting more darts at the board. It's not as much as saying, hey, look, we're going to draft a guy here at 7, whether it be Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, even a Nolan Smith, because he's climbing up draft boards. It's not a strong conviction there when I look at the whole landscape of the entire draft class to say, hey, look, if I was a GM, we really need a Christian Gonzalez. We really need a Devin Witherspoon. Because look at the guys they're bringing in, right? A lot of defensive backs, which tells you what? That says something. The guys that they're bringing in for pre-draft visits right down the street from where I live, it's a lot of defensive backs. Why? Because maybe it's a lot of smoke, right? There's a lot of smoke here.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I think that's the play.
There's a lot of smoke. I agree 100% because like they're talking about Anthony Richardson to the Raiders a little bit too much, and I'm just like, oh man. Even though I kind of like the stealing of Anthony Richardson and the possibility, and just imagine like a great offensive mind just being able to develop that. I like the idea of it, but when I'm hearing too many, like they're trying to connect the dots with the Raiders and Anthony Richardson, I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing here. But yeah, man, the Raiders at the end of the day, they do need defensive talent, but they also need talent. They need a lot of talent.
And here's the thing. Here's a question that I have, and I think it's no one really knows for sure. All right, I don't know for sure. No one knows for sure. If Jalen Carter does slip to the Raiders at 7, how can you not draft him based on his on-field production? When you know about the off-field stuff, that is a huge concern here in Sin City. Trust me on that. But how can you not draft him? The guy is the second best defensive player in the entire draft.
Man, it's one of those you think about it, especially when it happens. I know Raider Nation is going to be thinking. I know everybody's like looking at it like, because if he's exactly like great player and then also fits a need, it's just like it's a perfect fit. And the type of impact that he could have on this defense, let alone the D line with Max Crosby on the other side, because interior pressure has been an issue for how long? You know what I mean?
Man.
And after Jalen Carter, it kind of gets a little bit dicey at that D tackle position throughout the draft. Like there's some guys maybe here and there, but you know, you kind of have to pick them at the right spots as well. You got to pick take the best player available, and hopefully they don't try to shoot for needs, because that's what the Raiders did in the past. And you've seen how many picks they've missed with Mike Mayock and John Gruden. You know, list goes on and on. But Jalen Carter would be a great fit. But I'm not. I would be lying to you if I wouldn't be concerned just based off, you know, the Henry Ruggs situation, that community, and how they lost someone in that like tragedy. And for the Raiders, because I know Mark Davis would probably I don't know. You know, you would probably know a little bit more than me, but they would probably think twice to bring in a guy like that. And he's doing this. And someone made a great point on my show, and they called in and they were like, he's doing all this in Athens, Georgia. Imagine if he comes to Las Vegas.
Exactly.
You know,
it is a huge concern. It is a huge concern. And when Vic put it out that, you know, I don't know what the lingo was, they took him off his board, they're not interested in Jalen, whatever the case may be, right? There was an article that Vic wrote, beat writer, and people are, clowning Vic because, you know, that was, you know, whatever, like it's not true. And because he came in for a pre-draft visit yesterday. I think both can be right. You know, I think Vinny's right because obviously he said that, you know, that this country, but let's be honest about this. Vic could also be right because Vic may know something that we all don't know. And who's going to have the last laugh if they don't pick a Jalen Carter and he's available at number 7? Vic is.
Right.
You know, just because a guy comes in for a pre-draft visit doesn't necessarily mean that they're drafting that guy. In fact, here's the thing that I would do. There's a thing called reverse psychology. If I'm a GM, I'm bringing in Jalen Carter, playing a game of Texas Hold'em and saying, hey, look, I'm going to draft I'm going to draft this guy, right, at number 7. I'm going to draft Jalen Carter at number 7 because I'm high on this guy. Brought him for a top 30 visit. I hate the word top 30, but brought him in for a pre-draft visit. And if he's sitting there and there's someone behind me that knows that we're going to draft him, say, hey, get a phone call. Hey, what's it going to take? Because are you guys going to take Jalen Carter? Like, oh, yeah, man, we're going to take Jalen Carter. Dude, what do you want for him? Let's talk.
Right.
That's what happens. To just say remove him off the board, you're now devaluing the pick. You're diminishing the value of the pick
Right.
because now you're showing your cards. You don't want to do that.
Right.
And so that's why I'm thinking, like, anybody who reads that as Vic being wrong, you're wrong. You're wrong. Trust
Right.
me. So
Right.
and people who make fun of Vic or whatever, look, Vic has strong sources. The reason why he's a beat writer and a lot of people just talk about it, because at the end of the day, he knows something.
Right. I've been following Vic since the San Francisco Chronicle days. So he's been a beat writer for the Raiders for a long time.
Yeah.
And I like his takes. I think I understand what the Raiders are doing right now, and it's very smart because they're bringing in these players and they're keeping their options open. So then, in my opinion, the best case scenario would be if they can trade down and maybe get an extra second round pick. Because they, like I said, the main thing the Raiders they need talent.
Right.
And even though, and you made a great point before I went on, when I got on, you said they're not going to be using all 12 of their picks. They're going to be manipulating the board. I agree 100%. But also, if they can get some top 100 picks, you know what I mean? Second round picks, third round picks, those are possible starters, good players. Those this is where Dave Z, he needs to earn his keep. He needs to earn his money. And I think that if they can trade down, and like you said, you pick maybe an offensive lineman or whoever the best player is at that spot, and then also get another second round pick, because there's some good players that you can pick up in the second round.
Absolutely. I don't think it's as top heavy as people make it out to seem. I only have 16 first round grades in this draft, so that means anybody from 17 to 32, depending on how the board falls, are second round tier talents. But I do think the depth is there, like the good depth, like in the rounds 2 and 3, like you talked about, the top 100 picks. Dang well, if you know GM Dave Ziegler, he's going to go ahead and get 3 to 4 starters on defense through the draft. That's not a question. Here's the thing that no one wants to talk about or admit is maybe they don't know because they're not, a beat writer or whatever. They're not on the inside. But I'm telling you right now, Neil Farrell, Matthew Butler, they're still very high on these guys. There's a reason why they didn't go out and really target an interior defense tackle in free agency.
Okay.
Just putting it out there.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what I think of these players. It just matters if they can perform on the field. But at the end of the day, they're very high on those guys. They like them. Right. They didn't give up 2 fifth-round picks to move up in the 4th for Neil Farrell for him to ride the pine in year 2, which is the most significant growth for a player coming into the NFL. So I know it's one of those things where, do I think Neil Farrell is going to be a double-digit sack artist from the interior? No. Is Jalen Carter an upgrade? Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, say he's not. But all I'm saying is I know for a fact they're very high on those guys. I'm just going to leave it at that. So keep that in mind when people talk about Jalen Carter. All right. Now watch Jalen Carter get drafted. I like Jalen Carter. I just don't know if he's going to be a real fit here in Vegas. Vegas is a real, this is my first year living in Vegas, right? Just wrapped up my first year here.
Right.
It's definitely a culture shock. It's definitely a culture shock from living in the Bay Area, right? I'm from San Jose, and different, very different.
It's a desert. Definitely going to be a culture shock if it's a desert.
It's a desert, dude. It's a desert, and there's a lot of temptation here. So yeah, also a lot of opportunity here. So you just got to be disciplined.
Right.
And with that comes maturity, right? So is Jalen Carter mature enough? Forget the football stuff. Is he mature enough to handle what he doesn't know? And I think for a guy, I did a lot of stupid things at his age. All right. I'll be the first to admit a lot of freaking dumb things, right? Dumb.
Right.
I think we all have done dumb things. It's just when you get paid millions of dollars on top of that, it's a whole different ball game. And then other people come into your life, right? It's weird. I'm just hopefully he doesn't go down that road, but if he does come here, I wish him all the best. And if he does come here. All right. So we have another question in regards to, we talked about Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's talk about Josh Jacobs. Okay. Here's a guy who was given the franchise tag. He has till April 17th to sign that franchise tag. What are your thoughts on Josh Jacobs' contract situation?
I'm a big Josh Jacobs fan. Since he's been a Raider, he's been everything and more. I mean, he's pretty much, you can argue that was probably Mike Mayock's and John Gruden's best pick.
Mhm.
You know, I just thought about it. Max Crosby probably their best pick, but it's close. Like Josh Jacobs been pretty productive since he's been drafted. He's been like he's carried the offense at times. Um, well, you could probably say he's carried the offense, and last season he had one of his great timing. Contract year,
Mhm.
had his best year. But the thing is that it's 16 mil. Because I'm hearing this number. I'm hearing this number, 16 mil.
Mhm.
Is that going to be something that McDaniels and Dave Z are going to sign up to? Because I'm sure he's going to try to, because he just had the best season that a running back can have last season. I think he had the best season. I think he led the league in rushing. So I know he's probably going to be asking for a high number. I don't know all the contract details and all that, but I just think that at the end of the day, I feel like, do you pay a running back when, especially in today's NFL, where that position is really devalued? Like they can easily, especially McDaniels, where he comes from that. You got to point to it. You got to look at his background, and he comes
Yeah.
from that
Yeah.
background where they have a running back by committee,
Mhm.
and he's probably thinking in my head like, why am I going to pay 16 mil when I could just get, or Zamir White and some other guy that he gets in the draft.
Yeah, I guess no, for sure. Sorry for cutting you out.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you hit it right on the nail, man. You hit the hammer on the nail, bro. Like it's not the Patriot way to pay a running back, right? It's not. Like you can find a James White out of the backfield. They got that in Amir Abdullah, right? He's a third down back.
Mm-hmm.
You can find running backs in later rounds. I mean, they've been known to do that. You look down the list. They did go after Lawrence Maroney. They did sign or trade for Corey Dillon. They went after a few other guys, but other than that, I mean, you can get a LeGarrette Blount. I mean, the situational football guy is the Patriot way, right? That's the situational football guy, right? A running back by committee approach. My thing is now that Jimmy Garoppolo is in play, that changes the whole landscape. Because if you look at what the 49ers did, yes, they did a plug and play because they had Raheem Mostert. They had all these other running backs that were in the nuts, but then they also went ahead and got Christian McCaffrey at the end there. I think that when you look at it, Matt Breida, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You can find these running backs in later rounds, but when you have a Josh Jacobs sitting there, all pros don't grow on trees, and he's very young. Like people don't dismiss the fact that yes, there's tread on his tires, but he's not 30. He's not in the second contract. He will still not be 30. So in that second contract, if you value him, which I valued him at 15 million APY in a front-loaded contract, you have to give him that deal because of the fact that although it's not a luxurious position like the running back position, and they drafted Zeus White, are we sure if you remove Josh Jacobs in this offense this year and I love Zeus White, another guy that I got to know very well this offseason, during the year and this offseason. If Zeus White is typically the cowbell or the bell cow, however you want to say it, if he's the focal point and then you draft a guy, can you rely on a rookie coming in, learning the offense on top of Zeus White, who we don't know what we're getting from him because he has a small sample size to pull from, that they can have the success? And if they don't have success, Raider Nation is going to be like, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo sucks. Well, does Jimmy Garoppolo suck? Or is it the fact that he didn't have a running back like Josh Jacobs did, so he wasn't afforded the opportunity to have the type of success that he had in San Francisco because he knew in the 49ers scheme, it was a zone blocking scheme, which means that you can plug and play a running back. In the power-based run scheme, you need to meet your man mano a mano while hitting the second level. And you also have to have a running back that sees the vision, right? You have to be patient and see the vision. You have to see the hole. You have to create the own hole, right? Holes are not created for you. You have to see the vision and cut back or go against the grain how you see fit.
Right.
So there's a lot of different layers here that we can look at this. At the end of the day, I just think if you remove Josh Jacobs from the offense, he's the engine that makes it go. And if you do that and they don't have success, who are you going to blame? Jimmy Garoppolo? Or are you going to blame it on GM Dave Ziegler for not re-signing Josh Jacobs?
But I'll say this. Do you think that this is a retool or a rebuild?
I think it's a rebuild.
So if it's a rebuild, does it make sense to invest into a running back with that much money? And you know, you get where I'm going with this. Do you feel like it makes sense to use your available cap space to pay a running back that that it kind of goes against their philosophy. And when you hear Dave Z talk, he says he's not going to go against what he believes in and how when it comes to building a team. And I'm not sure if paying a running back that much money, but hey, maybe Josh Jacobs is the exception to the rule.
Right.
Do you feel like he's a great player, or do you feel like he's a very good player that had a great year?
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great player. And that's not just me being a Roll Tide Roll fan. Look, I just want to give you a shout out right now. So support Pharaoh NFL. You can follow him on YouTube. He does a really good job here. He'll be on the DOB family. He's part of the DOB family now.
Appreciate
And go ahead and support him. Kevin
guy,
Lurker gave you a shout out. Kevin Lurker also gave you a shout out.
I know Kevin, man. He's on my channel as well, man. I appreciate you.
Edgar Bonilla says, Pharaoh and Ray, you guys put on a good show, man. So look, everyone loves you. Obviously, I like you.
Appreciate you.
I don't love you yet. Love is a strong word. No, in all honesty, I think you're doing a great job. But no, Josh, the whole thing with Josh Jacobs is maybe because I am being biased there because me and Josh Jacobs, no one got along better with Josh Jacobs. Like me and him hit it off. Maybe because we're both Asian American or whatnot. But or being a Bama fan, and he's but he's a guy that I just think from a locker room presence, forget the football stuff. He embodies the Raider way. And what does the Raider way mean? Well, I'll tell you what the Raider way means because I'm there. It means the first one in, last one out. Okay. It means the iron sharpens iron mentality in doing what others won't in the dark. Meaning, no one's going to babysit you to see, hey, I'm watching game film. No one's going to babysit you to say, hey, are you on top of your work? He's already in there. Another layer to this is there is no sleeping in with the Raider way. Josh Jacobs never sleeps in. Another part of this is keeping your body fresh when the season starts, off-season training. There's no drop off in production there. You don't have to worry about what he's doing right now. He's already on it. And these are staples that Max Crosby also has, right? So when you look at Davante Adams, all the team captains. So when you look at it and you put it for what it really is, it's a hard sell. Like even me speaking highly of Josh Jacobs, it's a hard sell even for me to even say he's worth 15, 16 million because that's a lot of money. That's a lot of bread. But is he asking for Christian McCaffrey money? No, he's not asking for Christian McCaffrey money, but he's asking damn near close to it. And I think because of what he means to the Raiders, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo, that changes the whole landscape of everything. I think that's why Josh Jacobs is like, no, man, I know you need me for Jimmy Garoppolo to have success. Because without me, you remove me from the offense. Now we're in a total rebuild. You remove Josh Jacobs, it's not even a retool or rebuild. We all know where it's going. It's a rebuild.
Right.
But now it's 50-50. Is it a retool or rebuild? I don't care what the term is. They're not there yet, right? Like prove me wrong. Right. I hope the Raiders prove me wrong. Right. And I'm not doubting them. I mean, I hope they go to the Super Bowl and win it all. But logically, how many times can you actually say, hey, look, if you were to ask anyone, hey, are the Raiders going to win the Super Bowl? Just look at the Vegas odds here. It's not likely. Not saying it can't happen. I want it to happen, but it's not likely. So it is one of those things where it's a touchy subject. One, because, if you talk to other nation, I'm pretty sure in your own fan base that follow you, they're like on the fence, right? Like majority would say, yeah, don't pay him. Right. But then there's some people that say, no, you have to pay him. Right. So it's a good conversation to have. Luckily, we don't get paid millions of dollars to make those decisions. We just watch back and see, and it's on Dave Ziegler.
I think you brought up a good point about him being a captain along with Max Crosby and Davante Adams. And and those three players are special in that way that they're great players on the field, but off the field, I feel like from the outside looking in, it seems like they're really good leaders,
Yeah.
And I think that I think helps Josh Jacobs' case. That's how you build, I think, a team. You got to build a team with character and great players like a Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's just one of those things, man. So the offense, I mean, I think people are talking about the offense as if it's more set than the defense, and deservedly so. I mean, I think if you look at the defense, can you name one All-Pro or Pro Bowl player outside of Max Crosby?
I've been a Raider fan for my entire life, and I don't remember the last time they've had a good defense. Maybe some people try to say 2006 with Nnamdi Asomugha, or maybe the Super Bowl year. I think they were ranked top 3. But, it's just that should tell you it's not been it's the Raiders have had a really a good defense for a long
Mhm.
time. And that's I think the Raider Nation is hungry. We want a defense. And, like I said, I live in the Bay Area. I remember those Jim Harbaugh years. I remember that defense. And now just looking at the Niners now, they still have a great defense.
Right.
So it's kind of like, man, come on, like the Raiders could have that as well because we're in a division with Patrick Mahomes. We're gonna have to play some type of defense,
Right.
in order to compete with the best in the division.
I'm trying to look for your comments. I want people to I'm trying to hype you up here, dude. But you're
Yeah,
in your own hype, man.
yeah, yeah.
I'm scrolling through comments as I'm listening to you because I want to post them up. I have to do it individually because there's people that post a lot of crap in here, and I'm like, nah, man.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Hey, you run a great show, man. If anybody is joining us today, man, make sure to hit that like button. Let me give you a little sound effect here, man. I got some just hit that like
Oh, there you
button,
go.
man. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed, man. This guy BEASTwriter, man, he knows his stuff. He is in the trenches. He talks to players. He talks to the coaching staff. Like he has it all. He knows his stuff. Man, this is the guy to follow. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. And the same to you, man. So we talk a little bit about the let's talk about the defense. All right. So we talk about the interior defensive tackles. I mean, we can beat that everyone's talking about it.
Yeah,
Everyone and their mama talking about that.
right.
Everyone, but no one's really talking about really the second layer of that, which is the edge rushers, not the second level backers. I mean, we can talk about that too, but let's talk about the edge rushers. Obviously, Chandler Jones is there, but can we count on Chandler Jones having another off season like that?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it was funny though. Like I don't, and maybe you could speak to this a little bit.
Mhm.
When Chandler Jones start turning it on and starting like when they picked up, I forgot the interior rusher. I think it was Tillery,
Mhm.
and he gave him a little bit of inside pressure. It kind of opened up the pass rush. You
Yeah.
start seeing Chandler Jones play better. So I
Right.
think if the Raiders somehow, some way, whoever that's going to be, if they're going to take that risk with Jalen Carter, or if they're going to draft some guy that they feel like can be productive by rushing the passer
Mhm.
in the inside, I think that will unlock the pass rush. But hey, it just looks like right now that contract that Dave Z handed out was a little premature. Like it's a lot of money. They can't get out of that contract. He's what 32, 33 years old now, so it's like man, he's getting long in the tooth. And I even the year where the prior year we had 10 sacks, 5 of those came in one game.
Yeah.
So there's a clear decline that's happening. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully he turns it on this offseason, has a great offseason and has a great season with the Raiders.
I wrote about that. I actually wrote about that. The Chandler Jones. I didn't like it. I've been grading
Mhm,
Chandler Jones dating back to 2019.
mhm.
And I talked about that. I talked about his inconsistent game. Like, yes, in a game he'll have 6 sacks, then he'll disappear for the next 7 games, 6, 7 games, and then he'll have another sack, and then that'll be a kind of how the season goes. I didn't like the move, but I understand why they brought him in for the cultural identity that they want to bring up. And he's a veteran, and you know what you're getting with Chandler Jones because he's a veteran. So I can kind of see why they did it. I just didn't like making the move.
Yeah,
But I can see why they wanted to do it because if you're trying to build up a cultural identity, sometimes it resonates with players from coming from a player rather than from a coach or from an executive because they've been in the game and they understand the game. Same thing with my guy Duron Harmon, why he was brought here. I love Duron Harmon. He was a team captain as well, and he was brought in for this very reason, right?
yeah.
We know what we're getting with Duron Harmon, a very good leadership locker room guy. And so now when you have those players removed or some of these players removed, but you have Chandler Jones there because you played him that big deal, where does that set forth for some of these younger guys that they're going to be drafting? I mean, do you sit a Jose Ramirez, who's a good friend of mine, who I covered at the East West Shrine Bowl, if they went ahead and drafted him, came out of the same school as Max Crosby, do you sit him simply because he's not making more money than Chandler Jones? And if you do sit him, beat writers are going to be all over it. You're paying a guy to ride the pine, and what's going on with Chandler Jones. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting.
It's gonna be tough. It just really sometimes you just kind of have to like look at the contract situation. I know they can't get out of the contract now. I think there's like
Yeah.
25 million dead cap hit or something like that. It was something
Mhm.
crazy high next season. It just really depends on how they look at it. I mean, if they feel like they need to put the best players out there, which I'm sure they're gonna do, but it's just they're gonna have to be accountable. Like, I
Right.
think that's what it is. What it is, they're gonna have to admit to their mistake for them to play a young guy over Chandler Jones.
Yeah, and that's a big mistake to make, to admit, right? Because
Right.
beat writers will be all over. I'm a beat writer. I have to report it, right? I have to report that.
Yeah.
But Chandler Jones, who knows? I don't know how he can have an all-pro season and be like, "Oh, beast writer, f you, dude." Like I
Right.
had 13 and a half sacks this year. Like, what do you have to say about that? I'm not, and I'm not the guy that's like rooting against these players. I want them to do well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I truly want them to do well. It's just part of my job is actually predicting the future, right? And that's kind of how I built up my credibility. So in predicting the future, if I was a betting man here in Vegas, I would say that Chandler Jones wouldn't have 10 plus sacks this year. And I think a lot of people would be in line with that thinking because you don't know what you're getting with Chandler Jones. He is getting long in the tooth, as you said. And so injuries kind of play a role in that, right? Like as you get older,
Mhm.
logically, how much longer do you have to play in the NFL? And can you do it at a consistency? So it's just a lot of different layers here. All right. So is there anything else that you want? Let's talk about the defensive backs. What do you see the defensive backs going? State of the franchise currently, and then in the upcoming draft.
I think they have some interesting pieces in the secondary. I think they're missing a number 1 corner. They're missing a prototypical number 1 corner. I think, Rocky Sin is still a free agent. I don't know if he's signed with the team. I don't know if they're interested in bringing him back, but even him, when he just watching him play like a whole full season, he just looks like a number 2 guy. He doesn't look like a guy that you would probably, invest in and say he's gonna be the number 1 guy. I think the Raiders, that's another position of need. I could see them
Right.
probably drafting a corner if they're, if one falls to them, like a Christian Gonzalez or a Witherspoon out of Illinois, Nate Hobbs' teammate. So yeah, I think secondary is definitely a corner, especially because a lot of the cornerbacks that they have in that room are only signed to like 1-year contracts, or they have 1 year left in their contract.
Yeah.
So I could see them going attacking that secondary in the draft, and pretty much kind of playing chess a little bit. Like, okay, who are we going to bring? We need some young talent in that room, especially
Yeah.
a cornerback with size too. I think we don't have like a lot of cornerbacks. I know Sam Webb's like 6 foot. I think Nate Hobbs is another 6 footer, but he's more of an inside guy. I don't know. Maybe you could like talk about that a little bit.
I talked about Nate Hobbs.
Yeah, about Nate Hobbs.
Yeah, man. Nate, another guy that got to know on a personal level. He was dealing with injuries, man. Like there's a lot of injuries that go unnoticed, unchecked. We all know that he was playing with a cast, but he was banged up all season, bro. And so I think if you were to ask me if he can play boundary, I think he can, right? But I do think his best role is the slot. Like I think that's where he thrives. And I think, to be honest with you, I think it's more valuable to have a slot guy, and it's harder to play slot than on the boundary, because the boundary you actually have the sideline. You can use that as a 12th man, as an extra defender. When you moved into the slot, you have to be more cognizant of the second level backers. You have to know be cognizant of route trees. You have to know route concepts. You have to know based on formations down in distance, because in the game of football, real estate is really prime location, and
Right.
especially down inside the red zone where everything gets micromanaged. So you really need to understand from the slot position all roles of all aspects, be not just what your assignment is, but what everyone else around you assignments is, and then also what the offense assignment is in running their routes, because you don't want to get rubbed, you don't want to get screened, and so that can kind of create a mishap there. So Nate Hobbs, to me, is a very high football IQ guy. I think his best role is in the slot, because not everyone can play the slot.
Right.
Um, in today's NFL, I mean, you look around the landscape of the entire NFL, and how come more slot guys? You look at all the top 10 defenses, more times than not, they will have a slot guy that can really lock down the slot. People talk about the true lockdown corner on the outside. You really don't, in today's NFL, you really don't need a true lockdown corner, Deion Sanders on the outside, simply because there is none. But outside of Pat Surtain, maybe Sauce Gardner. But aside from that, you can kind of scheme things up nowadays, because second level backers are a lot faster than when they were in the early 90s. So
Mm.
people talk about getting a true lockdown corner. You don't need that today. I think you need a true lockdown slot guy. And I think Nate Hobbs could be that guy. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. I know you got to get going. But where can people find you on social media?
Hey, like Daniel Kim has it here. Hey, salute to Daniel Kim, and I appreciate you putting it up here. Like he has it on the screen right now. Pharaoh NFL everywhere on social media. PHAROAH NFL. and including my YouTube channel. So if you guys haven't subscribed, Las Vegas with Pharaoh NFL, or you can just simply just type in Pharaoh NFL, I'll pop up. And yeah, man, I'm trying to get to 3K. The road to 3K continues. So I appreciate the support. Yeah, man, I love the Raiders. I'm a big fan of the Raiders. So hey, when you come to my channel, it's going to be 100% Raiders. And yeah, man, Pharaoh NFL, man, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, follow my guy Pharaoh NFL. Let's get him to 3K. I'm trying to get to 6K.
Man,
It's tough, man. Like it's easy. Like
rebel.
people say it's easy. It's not easy. It's
No, it's not
hard.
easy. It's not
You
easy.
know how hard it is?
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to get the first 1,000 subscribers? That was
Yeah,
like pulling teeth.
yeah. And on top of that, you have to be really honest with yourself as well. And what
Yeah,
type
you
of
ain't gonna
content.
make we're not in this making money right now. Let's just
No,
put it
no,
that way.
not at all. And you have to be really honest on what type of content you're putting out. Because I know you mentioned something about integrity and things like
Yeah.
that. You definitely want to know your stuff. And I don't like speaking on things I don't know about. So,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that I respect, and you're one of them.
Appreciate it.
Obviously, like you've built up a channel based off the work that you put in, and you're going to continue to grow. And Daniel Kim, man, I appreciate him because I don't know if he reached out to you. He reached out back in. He's like, hey, man, you need to get together with BEASTwriter. This guy knows his stuff. He spends hours and hours studying game film. So, like I definitely was like, okay, yeah, I got to check him out. But I knew about you before that, but for him to hit me up says a lot about you, so.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's just and follow Raider Ray too, right?
Yep.
Your co-host. Let's get him on. Let's get him on here. Let me put it back. I gotta find it, man. Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
Raider Ray. He's my co-host. We do a weekly show every week. We switch off every week. This week will be on his channel. Be on the lookout of that. BEASTwriter is going to be joining us on Saturday. So make sure.
What time? What time do you want to do?
I think 1 p.m. Right? I think we agreed on 1 p.m. for you.
Okay.
Is
Okay,
that
1
what works
p.m.
for you?
Let's do one. Oh yeah, I did. That was me. I'm the one that gave you the time.
You gave me the time. Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry, dude.
I know.
I had to my
Yeah.
mind is I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, that's all good. It's all good.
It's not all good. It's stupid. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be
There
on
you
your
go.
show. Yes, on Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, you DM'd me, idiot. You never gave me my time.
Man.
But hopefully we'll have you on more. So the goal here is I don't know if I know I want to put you on the spot here, but I want to have you on every single week. And I want to have Raider Ray, if all things go well, to have both you guys on every week on a Thursday, if that's possible. So every Thursday after I come home from Levi Stadium, from Raiders headquarters here in Henderson,
Yeah.
I'm going to hop on. It'd probably be around 6:30 or something. I don't know what your schedule's like.
Yeah.
But we'll find a time and a set time, and then we can do that every Thursday. So every Thursday, everyone knows, and then I can do it on your channel, so we can switch off.
Okay.
You do it on so that way my subscribers can go to you and your subscribers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's more like a collab thing.
Right.
I don't like it when people, dude, get this, bro. So back when I was with the Niners, right? I'm not gonna say this. I don't give a crap. Whatever. So there's someone who is bigger, right? Bigger in terms of social media, not bigger in terms of what he knows, but clickbait bigger.
Right.
And he's like, oh yeah, I'm down to do the show, but I have to make my money. So basically I had to come on his show. I was like, we can't, no. That's like, how does that work? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, it's part of the territory. Sometimes you run into that a lot, you know what I mean? But hey, but I do like collabing. I do, especially with people who know their stuff. Like, cause I like to learn, and you're one of those people who knows their stuff, that puts in a lot of time and effort. And hey, Raider Nation, this guy is talking to the players. He's talking to the coaches. He is in the know. Like, he studies the game. So definitely support this guy, man. He's going to be coming with fire content in the future, and can't wait to see.
And the coaches all say I asked the best questions. Literally say that. They went on record saying that. Coach Graham went on record, said you asked the best questions.
Man, that's dope, man.
And the players actually, I've been told they love my locker room interviews. It's very, it's different, and everybody has their own unique flavor to it. I like to be as casual. Like, I like this casual interaction. You know what I mean? Like, talking to you man to man, face to face, but then not being like, oh, like, you had a bad game, tell me about it. Like,
yeah.
Like, I know, like, you played sports, I'm sure. I played sport. After a bad game, I don't want someone to fucking, I'm sorry, I shouldn't curse, but I
Right.
don't want somebody to, because, like, when you're mad, right? Like, I don't want
Right.
somebody to be like, oh man, like, tell me about your bad game today. Like, why'd you give up 4 touchdowns today? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe because I'm short. I don't know what kind of answer you want me to give
Yeah.
you, bro. Like, I
No,
got burned. Like, what am
sports
I
is
supposed
very interesting in that, like, it's literally their job, and then people after they're done with their job, people come up to them and it's like, "So, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? What happened here?" It is what it is, but I think they handle it well, and, yeah, man, like I said, I'm excited to do some future content with you, man.
Yeah, hopefully get Ray on here too. Tell him about it. Hype me up, even though he hasn't signed. Like, oh yeah, Beast is good, even though behind doors are like Beast sucks,
Oh, yeah,
dude. That was
he
awful.
was pretty excited, man, and we're looking forward to the show that we're gonna have on Saturday, so yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Well, Pharaoh NFL, I gotta step up my Bay game, bro. I gotta step up the Bay game with I'm serious, bro. Like, how do you do that? Like, how is it like that? Like the lighting. How do you make the lighting like that? We gotta talk. We
Yeah,
gotta talk.
we'll talk offline, man. I'll tell you all the secrets, man. I'll tell you all the good stuff. But yeah, man, it's just a little bit of research, just a little bit,
Just a little bit. All
just a
right.
little
Well,
bit.
thank you so much, Pharaoh NFL. Follow my guy on Instagram, Twitter. You're on Twitter as well?
Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Those are the main places that you can find me.
So am I following on Twitter? I didn't know you had a Twitter.
I'm not sure. I know I'm following you for sure. I think yeah, I know I follow you on
Okay, I'll
Twitter.
follow you back. I'll follow you back,
All right,
bro.
appreciate it, man. Appreciate everybody coming through and having this great conversation. All right.
All right, that was Pharaoh NFL. Everyone, give him a follow on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the other social media platforms that you're on. He is on there. This is fun, right? Just hearing me talk all the time is boring. I think it's boring. I'm joking. It's not, because you guys get good information out of it, but it's really good and fresh to have a different perspective. I think it's really cool. I just want to give a shout out. We're an hour and 31 minutes in. Just give this video a thumbs up if you like what we had to say. Thank you, Lencho, for the super chats today. He sent me a super chat, and also JCSD sent me a super chat. Thank you so much, as well as Lencho as well. So thank you everyone for the super chats that you have been sending me. On this live stream, we're going to do more, and hopefully we can have him on more. So Pharaoh NFL, that is. So again, this was a success. You guys wanted more people on. We're going to bring that to you here in the DOB, and we're going to leave no stone unturned. So thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I'm going to end this live stream. I'll be back on tomorrow on Friday for our 4th and goal segment, where we discuss everything roundabout from Monday through Thursday leading up to what would be an opponent, but it's the off season. So leading up to the news, notes, and quotes and rumors as it surrounds your lovely Las Vegas Raiders. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a good night. BEASTwriter out.